Welcome to Blue Collar Mystics, the under-the-hood approach to the depths of human consciousness. So many mysteries, so little time, so many big words. That's why we aim to take the mystical and make it practical, usable in your everyday life. And you know, we want to hear from you. We want to hear your story. What happened when you started asking yourself the real questions? Like, who am I? What is this? Is it a hologram? Is this some kind of weird cosmic joke? Hey, these are the questions that we are trying to get to the bottom of as we explore the final rabbit hole together here as Blue Collar Mystics. And you guys are all like, what is that final rabbit hole, you kinky freaks? Well, it's you get your head out of the gutter. Everybody, we're going to have an awesome stream today. Very, very, very excited. We've already been riffing it up backstage. We had a holy moment. It was good. And it's just going to get better from here. Thanks for everybody for hanging out and checking out the show who's live. Today, I have some amazing guests. I have been excited about this stream ever since we booked it up. I got Clinton Kirk on Instagram, Conchena. Am I pronouncing that right, Clinton?
Conchena. It's
Conchena.
made up, so it really doesn't matter.
Okay, cool. I can say it gringo if I want.
It means
yeah, you can. You can pronounce it however you will.
That's cool, man. Yeah, no, I love it. And the great and powerful Brandon Thomas from the Expanding Reality podcast also joining us today.
How do, gents? Good to see y'all, as
wonderful.
Always.
Wonderful to have you guys.
Yokai will be joining us as well.
Oh, beautiful.
All right. I feel blessed to have you in my presence.
It's a beautiful
Love
day.
Love it so much.
Amazing. Yeah, it's great. I wanted to talk about creativity. That's going to be the main sort of topic today, because I know each of us, we've been in there fighting, struggling, chipping away, doing different things, experiencing different varied levels of competence when it comes to creativity, and obviously different skill sets as well. So I thought we would do a little meld, talk a little bit about our experiences and how we could leverage those to make better art, make better creative processes, and help the people who are also interested in doing the same thing do that. So, you know, it'll be chill. It'll be easy. I imagine we'll have some people sounding off in the chat here pretty soon. Yeah, from there, it's a pretty open space. And I'm stoked about it. It's like I'm getting into a nice, refreshing pool this afternoon.
Nice. Yeah. Into summer, nice dip. I love it. Yeah.
It is nice.
Season's changing, man, you know, and I don't know about y'all, but fall just brings it out in me. You know, I want to, it's like sort of rainier. It's a little more ominous. We can describe the days that way a little bit. We start to get into ominous days, and that just calls out some sort of creativity in me. I'm a September baby as well. I'm a fall baby. So maybe that has something to do with your solar return kind of thing and being just super inspired to complete another cycle, but also it allows you the freedom to invite yourself into a new cycle of creativity because you're still here, you're still creating. And if you've been doing something and consistently at a craft, or a few, like we are probably, like definitely us, we multitask with this stuff, then you've gotten a chance to level up in those crafts. And it's beautiful when you see these videos of these people who will show their art from like 2015, and then they'll show their art now. And it's such a dramatic difference, but it's just, you know, duration over time, right? You know, you just put consistency into something and you're going to grow, you're going to adapt. I'm sure Clinton can talk about this with his artwork and how it's changed and adapted. And it's just a beautiful time right now to be creative. I just like, people are pumped about pumpkin spice lattes. I'm pumped about new shit going on with the journals and the publishing and the show and all that stuff, you know?
Talk a little bit about that stuff. What do you got pumping out over there?
Dude, actually today, what's up, Anthony, in the chat? Today I was on Do Not Disturb for 90% of the day, and I was doing other stuff with my time. I was actually doing this. This is one of our journals that we have. I published this exactly 1 year ago, September 13th, actually. So we're 10 days away from 1 year of publish. And I published this thing, cool cover art by Janine Burgess. She did this piece specifically for this. And this is a journal that I created, and it's literally this. So this is the system. It's 10 main points, and then it has all these circles and things that I call nodes. And so what I've been mainly doing today was going over this. There's a video series that I've been wanting to do for a year now since I published this, where it breaks down all the little sections of this and then allows the user to sort of express themselves in the way that it was meant to, which is all customizable. No other journals like this, and no two will ever be the same. No one's going to interpret this the same. So there's a whole intended experience thing at the front of this, which will show you sort of the idea of how it goes. And that works well, right? In print, it looks awesome and it works. But I haven't sat down with sample pages and graphics and all that kind of stuff. So I did that. And that's what I've been doing all day. Very inspired to just start filling this thing in. And so, for example, I break down each section. So the moon section on here, okay? The moon section, people are like, what is this? What's going on? In the intended experience, it explains it. But I go ahead and break this down, you know, on camera with a graphic and with it physically filled out. And then we start to move around this fill-in area here, because the whole thing is meant to be sort of a mantra in itself, right? So as you fill that in with whatever color you want for the day, I assign a different color per day of the week for that color. And as I'm doing my thing, I just sort of fill it in as a meditation practice. So as I go through and I've been breaking down each individual section, you'll come to eventually something that looks like this. And this is what one day filled out looks like. And so I've been very creative on just how to get the video set up, how to shoot this, what it looks like, the blend between, you know, analog and digital, right? I have the physical copy, but I also have some really cool graphics that point the way and show each individual breakdown. And so we're doing, I call them walkabouts, right? So we're going on a walkabout, bless you. We're going on a walkabout through the journal here, and I'm showing you all the different points. And that's just the main body of it. Then we get to the sample nodes part, where if you look in the very back of the book, there's 3 different pages like this, where they are just blank lines, and they point to all those rad little circles and things going on. I call them nodes. And then what that looks like when you customize it to tell it what you want it to look like, it looks maybe something like this. So where you go in and assign different colors. Let's do the weather, for instance. So if you look at the weather tracker here, you'd have the high temperature for that circle there, the low temperature for that circle down there, and then you could assign any of these dots next to it to any of the variant weather conditions, chemtrails, super sunny, rainy, whatever. And so then as you go through your journal, you get back to your sample day that we filled out, and you'll say, oh, okay, that day it was 80 degrees is the high. It was rainy, because I know that because I filled that in with the blue circle, and that's what rain means right there for me. And it was 68 for the low. So you can go back and really track yourself. And that's what this is all about. It's called mindful expansion. And that breaks down to me. So every day you work on me from your perspective, right? So there's an evening version of this, which has an owl. There's 10 of these in published, but this is the main sort of follow along every day. The others are for artists. Actually, Clinton has invested art, and we have feature artists in the sketchbook series ahead of you going in and doing your own thing. We feature quotes from inspiring people in this as well, people I know from the show. You actually, Bootsy, are going to be featured in the second version of this, which I've also been working on in tandem. So it's like episode 300 came out, which was a whole thing, right? Then it was working on video production for this series. And then it was, which went into creating graphics, sample pages, layouts, all of that. And then also creating a completely separate second version of this, which is far more complex. It's got a different utilization of space, way more trackers and customization. So it's a lot more of invested creativity. But again, this is what I've been working on. That plus, I mean, this is our publishing house, Redigital Publishing. And so we've been working on titles for other folks as well. So it's been a lot, man. I mean, I could word diarrhea about it for sure, but
No, it's dope.
That's sort of what I've been working on lately. Yeah.
I love how intricate it is and how detailed it can be. And also the fact that you can take some liberties with it. I love that.
That's the thing is there's a section on there called the daily design, and it's 4 questions you ask yourself every single day. Who do I choose to be today? How do I choose to feel today? What do I choose to give today? And what do I choose to receive today? So those 4 questions you ask yourself from any number of perspectives. Now, how I interpret that is I ask myself that. I say, who do I want to be today? Now, there are variances on this. So this one filled in, for instance, I always answer the question, who do I want to be? Fucking me, man. There's nobody else. I love you, Owen. I love you, Clint, but I wouldn't want to be you, dude. I love y'all. You guys are crushing it at you. And I love being able to be me and hang out with you, but I always answer this in me. Then I'll go through and answer, all of the rest of it. But a friend of mine, he has these, and this is another part of this whole collection series. When we roll this out, is how other people have interpreted this. I have a friend of mine who interprets that first question, who do I want to be today, for him to fill in the blank of either a character played in a movie, Batman, something like that. And so he'll embody the qualities of that character as he views it. So he'll then put that armor on for the day and walk around. Like, today I'm King Arthur. I'm going to do this. No swords and stones in my block. They're just going to be all pulled out, dude. And so there's like this embracing of that character. But again, that's not how I use it or thought for somebody to use it, but it's an interpretation that somebody else is now finding valuable for themselves, which is the whole point in this. And that alone is why no two will ever be the same.
Dude, I love that. That's very, very cool. Yeah. And people can find that. I put links, everybody, too, in the description of this video for you gentlemen. So definitely check the description links down below, and you can check out Brandon's site from there.
Thanks, dude. Yeah.
Of course.
I have Barnes & Noble and Amazon.
I just like how inspiring that is of a ritual for you, right? Like, that takes up that good portion of your morning that you own. Because I know you talk about that's you got a couple hours before you give anything away at all.
Nailed it. But
to find yourself at the brink of that, and then you can take on the world however you want each day. And that makes sense. I think ritual, or like just grounding, any which way you want, how just like being in the moment to become like a conduit. I find that like the what is it, the electro culture, like if you're grounded and you're pulling because the ideas are just coming out of the air, or like for art, for me, like I doodle now as opposed to I used to try to like find art. You'd see like it started out like just copying a visual image in nature, right? You like paint a tree as well as you can, and then a camera comes out and that guy can just take a picture of it better than you could paint it, or you waste a lot of time learning to paint that particular, right? So for me, it's just like journaling. Brandon, you know how I feel about it. It's the paint dries slower than I can put it out. So
I love you say that about your artwork. Yeah.
But it's that way. If I could journal, I could just put it all on a shelf and it would take up so much less space, But it is that. It's like reintroducing yourself to whatever it is you are each morning. That sounds like a great method. Because we get lost in this place so fast. Like
you can, yeah.
Take all the esoteric, crazy woo-woo shit out that we all talk about, and the mythical, heretical stuff, and it's like humans are just bad at being humans. Like the dogs do dog stuff really well.
Yeah.
Every other thing is pretty good at being well aware of the ebb and flow of life, and with little expectation, I think. And the intent of a wild animal right off the bat. Like, how a feral dog's going to act. You need to be aware of certain things. As humans, we get so distracted outside of that. Like, we're going to fight over money, right, Owen? Like,
yeah, that's been kind of my day, which is funny because like we get on here and like I just start unloading my shit. And, like I'm fighting about money with people, and it's like Clint's immediately like, "Oh yeah, fighting over fake shit."
It's FRNs, man. They feel real, but they're not.
Well, it's funny. It's like, so the thing that I think that I've learned about creativity specifically, it's very simple, is that if you're not relaxed, good fucking luck creating anything. That's why all the hermetic magic, get all these fancy wizards in their capes, and they're like, well, you need to learn to relax. And you're like, wait, what? Relax? What are you talking about, dude? Give me the secret symbology and the weird thing to make in the air. You know, come on, let's get naked and do some weird shit in the woods. That's what you think it's about. But really, I mean, it really is. When you get into like a lot of this stuff, it starts out with just like learning to relax, because you need to be able to do that in order to open up. But I like what you said, Clinton, too, about grounding and putting yourself in maybe a little bit perspective as well, to maybe remind yourself of who you are. Like you said, like I used to joke around when my girlfriend's dog at the time would like, you know, act up. I'm like, stop being a dog. How could you? You know, it's like they can't help themselves. Like it's just what they are. It's a great analogy to keep in mind. Maybe we could talk a little bit about what you do to get yourself in that mood, as far as when you begin to work. I love how you call it doodling too, by the way. It's like, so
first of all, his art is adorned in our home. He sent us like a $400 equipment of shit that he paid for himself to get here, because it's all fake anyway, and he really does treat it like that. It's beautiful. Just didn't blink. And so our home is adorned with all of his art, and it's in actually our main living area. I'll take some pictures and send it to you, but love this man dearly. Just bottom of my heart as a human, but dude, as an artist, we adore his work. My wife and I both. In fact, there was a piece that he had that was blank, and he custom drew my wife and I in there with hearts around it as our anniversary sort of 10-year thing, but just for us. And a UFO in the sky. Beautiful. Like, it's perfect. It's simple. It's right in our main living space. Just love this dude. So, and he also joined us, Bootsy, for our conversation on the show where we feature an artist, and that's part of our creative expansion series. And him sitting there, you and I in the conversation several times, we're going, what was I saying? I'm watching the art. I don't know, man. I'm watching Clinton, dude. It's so awesome. And that's why we do it. You know, we feature just some really cool folks because of what they're doing is so fucking cool and unique and creative. And that's the other thing to focus on here. Yes, we're having deep, amazing conversations, but there's still beauty to be had here. Don't let, I think, the lizard turds that are, I think, controlling the bullhorn that have the loudest voice out there, right? The one on TV and whatever, that keep, you know, remaking The Little Mermaid and fucking putting out things just over and over and over, because there's no new creativity coming out of that sector. But I think this is the point. I think this is what we are inspired to do, is not look at it and go, fuck the world, it's all burning down, fuck it. It's to go, okay, that's done what it can for me. It's inspired me to do my own thing. And actually, I'm no longer attracted to that at all. I'm very just attracted into our community, what we're building, what we're offering. And so when we're able to offer an artist featured doing his thing there that the guests are distracted by in the middle of the conversation, that's incredible. That's something that not many people are doing. But this is what's fascinating about this, is it's inspired us to say, look, you guys are just regurgitating the same shit over there, but we're going to just continue to create and be more inspired to create. And so, Clint, what's your process like, dude? How do you get in that spot and just shine?
It's like listening to random conversations, or, you know, I like to read a little bit. Like, Owen, you say that you write in the morning. So when I get up, I have some plants that I tend to. I get up every day at a certain time before the sun right now already. So it's like I have a good amount of time before anybody else is even really open for communication anyways. So I take that time to maybe like wash the dishes in my brain, if that makes any sense. Like, I have a super overactive mind, and I thought more people were like that, and I realized at 46 years old that they're not. Like, most people are kind of asleep at the wheel, and then they enjoy being entertained. But like, I like to understand the entertainment, so that it makes sense to me. Like, so with comedy, or like what you were just saying, Brandon, how it's just like a muck, but we stand on the shoulders of our predecessors, if not. And so like the comedians, they have a big thing about stealing material, and that's huge. But I think we all know that it's not original. It's just a sensitive subject, and they delivered it well, and maybe their audience was ready for it. You know, like, you read the crowd, we have to read ourselves. And then when I say it's doodling, because I'll, practice an image. Like you said that you don't, when you close your eyes, you don't see visual pictures of things, right, Brandon? How
Correct.
about you, Owen?
Yeah, just
I'm like a black
how-
space. I get like
Yeah.
fractals maybe every once in a while. You know,
I'll
I
get
could
that.
get like
The
a
fractals.
light blue lights. You know, if I
Yes.
pushed on my eyes really hard, I can get
Yes.
like
Yeah,
a
when you squeeze them
mandala,
and then you get
right?
that geometry.
But
Yeah,
I don't see the things. So when I used to draw, I would stare at the photograph and I would copy it, and so that why? So that I could draw Brandon and Owen. Like fuck that, I'd rather hang out with you guys. So I started just like drawing my feelings. I grew up with skateboards as a big part of my life, and the art on the bottom of skateboards was really cool. It's super expressive. But for the most part, like I learned advertising art in school and all the ways to do the things. And then because I realized there's nothing fucking original, I stopped doing stuff because when the internet got really big and you'd go somewhere to get inspired and then you'd see people already doing the thing that you wanted to do and maybe even a little bit more better, you know,
Yeah.
in a fine art type of way where like I decided art is about expression and feelings, and most people watch a movie to connect to something that they're not willing to talk about. So when it comes to new ideas and stealing material, I think we all should do that because we're looking through a dirty window because of the way things have been designed, and it just gets murkier and murkier and murkier if we just try to do what other people are doing. And every once in a while, people like ourselves, like you said, you want to find a leak in the dam, we just crack the whole fucking window and let the light right through. But you have to be really fucking hurt and sit alone. And like you were talking to the young boy, is his name Devin Winter? What was his last name?
Yeah, Devin Winter. I was thinking of him as you were speaking, actually. How
Okay,
cool.
so
We're locked in, dude.
he was talking about the archons being like the prism that splits the light before it gets to you, right?
Yeah.
And then the Buddhist mentality would be you have tea with your demons, you invite them in, but you give them no fucking place to stay. You're like, this is not your house. This is my fucking house. You're welcome here. Now get along, right? And so you could do whatever you want, but I'm still gonna shine my light however I got to do it. But to get the ego out of it, to be the best or to have a new thing is nothing. But to touch people, I think is where it's at. And we're so kind of indoctrined into thinking that when we find our partner in life, we'll be okay, or when we get the money, we'll be okay, or when we find that niche that's ours. But I don't know, like maybe we should just make a really cool iPhone case at this point, you know, or an Android case. But the thing is, like, it's not new, but it's got to feel good, you know. So I do my thing like this guy behind me, or it's over here, I guess. That it's like a man in a straitjacket staring at an ass.
Yeah, look at that ass,
But
though.
he has no eyes. Yeah, it's a big booty, and she's flat chested. That's my kind of girl. But
Yep.
you know, I'm simple but very complicated.
Yeah, that looks like some alien ass. That's some wild looking badonkadonk right there, buddy.
Yeah, it's probably lopsided too.
I think all of them are. All of ours are, right? Like
They're
Yeah.
perfect. Yep.
Kind of bifida.
They come out real.
No, I love that. I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean,
So like, I don't mean to ramble on, but so you know, like,
Yeah.
For instance, like the Aristocrats comedy special, right? And that joke, right? And then you saw how they used Gilbert Gottfried at that live thing, and how he just he took the most inappropriate joke that belongs to nobody. It's like a standard in jazz or some shit, and he made the best out of the worst situation possible, right? Like if you ever go see that video of Gilbert Gottfried doing the Aristocrats. Do you know what I'm talking about, Owen?
I do, yeah. It's been a while since I've seen that documentary, but I watched it as soon as it came out, and I've seen it since then too. But yeah, everyone has their own take on that joke. Like essentially the joke is you make it up as you go, you do your own version of the joke, and the punchline is the same.
Yeah,
so,
he's like live at an awards thing or some shit, and it's after 9/11. He brings something up like way too soon, and the fucking crowd is about to flip on this dude, and he's just like, he stays in character, and he just fucking delivers that joke like nobody could, and it was like, fuck, that other thing didn't even happen because he touched people in a way, you know? So pull the rug out from underneath people or whatever.
I like it. I like the idea of taking ego out of it too, because really that's what it's about. Like you say, art is expression. It really is. It's hard though. And especially as I've tried to do stand-up comedy, but I mean, I'm sure it's this way with any art form, right? Like you want to dazzle people, but and give them a ride, you know, give them a journey, a roller coaster, you know, and all this, but not make it about you, you know. It's like, but it's hard to kind of separate those two things sometimes, because I think maybe it's the desire to give that experience, and then you're associated with it too as the artist. So it's like, it's a bit of a trick.
Well, it kind of makes everything feel more legitimate, right? If you're not so insane in this barrel alone, right? So you start joking with people and they all just hop in the fucking clown car with you. And all of a sudden you're getting more people want to get in than can actually get in because they feel so comfortable in that uncomfortable spot, right? Like I'm probably better at free throws than I am at art because of how much shit I've crumpled up and thrown into the garbage can.
Kobe.
So good.
Too soon.
Right? Too soon. We make the best of shitty situations. It's lemonade from lemons. That's what we do here. You know, you could be a victim. That's how I was brought up. I was raised a dysfunctional victim. And I refuse that. You know, I don't understand. I just see pain in everyone, and I don't know how we fix it unless we learn to express it.
Yeah, I love that. I love acknowledging the struggle, right? Acknowledging the thing that's the problem right now. It's fun. It's funny. It's meta. I saw a video the other day just scrolling on Instagram of this dude who went up to these girls and he had his phone. He was like, hang on a second. I'm Googling how to pick up girls. What's your name?
I saw that. I saw this.
And I started howling, dude. I was like, that's it. That's so good.
What a great time to be
it's
alive.
gotta work, right?
Of course it worked. I mean, shit, talk about if you're going to steal something, you know, if you're looking to meet people, you know, you could go up to a conference and be like, I'm looking up how to be professional at a conference.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you.
That how to function normally in society as it collapses, right? And just read that open, have that printed.
It's like a Monty Python.
Right.
And that's the world we live in. I mean, everyone's t-shirts branded. It seems that the three of us actually don't have a cause on our chest right now, but most people are like a superhero for something all the time, if not a brand, something silly, right? Because that's what they relate to, I guess. I want you to hate me for my art and not what brand I'm wearing, you know? The fanaticism is what would be cool to get rid of. I think that's where we went wrong as a species. You know, the religion and the politics wouldn't work without that crazy fanaticism. And I don't know why we dig that. Like, obviously, we don't care about new because we eat the shit out of other people's asses. We're like the human centipede of culture.
Sure.
Like politics here in our country, right? Red or hat. I don't know if I said this to you guys or not, but like you can use this if you want to, Owen, on stage. But I find that if you're going right or left in a cul-de-sac or a dead end street, it doesn't matter. Like if you go up an asshole, you got to come back out the asshole.
Says every gerbil. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully you don't need to go get help, you know?
Yeah.
So I just, you know, pick a God that will save you and I don't participate in politics, and I won't fight you over money because it's so silly. Like, I got some free money as soon as I sent you those packages. It was pretty cool, Brandon. Like,
That's what you said. Yeah. You're like,
yeah,
no, I don't, you know, and then
it doesn't matter. Like, it just works that way. And next time I post art for free, I'll make sure that it's all stuff that I could send like Owens in a tube.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm
yeah.
getting yours framed too, by the way. I can show that one.
Yeah,
from
like
that.
it would have been cheaper for me to like
Cut
like
it off of
pull
the
all
frame,
the shit off
roll
of
it
the
up.
frame,
Yeah.
and then send him money to
I
frame
could
it.
Yeah, I could frame it here. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one
Yeah.
you did on our conversation.
Yeah.
And he sent that to Owen as a gift too. What a beautiful gesture.
Well, I had options and I was like, nope, I'm gonna be selfish.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, we could put the other one in a tube and send it to Mr. Kinsella. Like, I have art under my bed that I don't make it to keep it.
Dude, it's awesome. I love it, man. I know exactly where it's going as soon as it's done being framed. It's going.
Yeah, and that's why our house, because he sent us a couple of batches. That's the second batch of art you sent. And that first batch, it had a bunch of stuff in it. And I was just pumped. Like I said, it adorns our home.
Like one of my the favorite paintings that I've ever made personally. You have is that one with the man swimming underneath.
Yes. I love that. It's hanging up in my art studio, man, where I made the journals. Yeah. Where I create.
And your journals, right, I have a stack. I haven't even written in them yet because I have to articulate how I'm going to start in it, because I like how it is just as much as you have created that mandala of like line work, it's still open for you to do whatever you want with it, right? It's only suggestive that you do what you've done. You know, I like it.
Co-collective process between us, which is great. I sort of set up a template and let the mind wind and then just go. Because that's my role here. This is part of me embracing my role, which is to give people back to themselves. And there's a lot of shit out here that doesn't want that to occur, and that's okay. And which is why it brings up sort of the challenges and our ability just to articulate the message. I mean, I can't tell you just on formatting on something like this. I sat there for a month and was rejected. And then you have to wait, you have to fix something and then wait. And so just the process of getting things out, like you said, just the logistics of shipping something, just to be able to take your gift and to give it out to somebody else is incredible. And then, we run into the ever-present obvious that there are things that we need to, what do they call it? Survive here. And so we have that as well, where you run into that really a lot of creativity will go to being creative to survive. Like, okay, well, how do I make this month? How do I live? What is important to me? And it's really interesting as well. Then now it's not just a book or a piece of art or something. It's your actual survival that you are a co-collective creative process of. And it's just really interesting. But like the challenges of it, because creating great art, like music, I'm a musician, and all of that happened with like a gun to my head. It happened when I was feeling the shittiest. I wrote the best music, or it just came through, like you were saying, Owen, as a conduit. It just flowed right through. I was like, a couple of songs I would sit up and go, holy shit, like what was that? I didn't write that. It just flowed right out. So it's things like that. It's being able to be in this shit, watch the world burn around you, but to be able to create something beautiful and to be able to share it in a really cool way. And that's what this is about. It's this forge, and this is a distillation process. It's not ascension. It's not just, everything's going to work out. No, you're here to fucking burn shit off and to alchemize that and then still smile and, make dick and fart jokes along the way.
Yeah.
Right. The perfection process, like you don't want to just do something once and then just sit there and rot, right? Like,
yeah.
And I have a tattoo on my belly with a man and a Native American. They're sitting there smoking a peace pipe, probably what I imagine it's a smallpox blanket, but it says always learning. Like, there's no way that you can't fine tune, or as you progress, find a better way to do what you've already been doing, right? Like, it shouldn't be good enough to do it the way the other guy did it. Like, you got to do it your way, or it's not funny. It doesn't hurt. You're just copying someone else's shit. Like, when you said we were going to talk about creativity, I thought about like when people fast, like if you're hungry, you start thinking about shit. You don't have a lot of pollution, and you start thinking about solutions. Like, how do I not feel like this anymore? And a lot of times people aren't creating because they're not wanting to touch those feelings, maybe, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think that's a big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that and sometimes I think like one of my friends actually just a couple of weeks ago, I was so proud of him. It came out of nowhere. He was like, dude, I just decided that I was going to just not watch or listen to anything. Like, I'm not going to read. I'm going to take a couple of days. Like, my brain needs rest. I just feel like I need to shut it off. And he's like, through doing that, my brain kicked on and it started, because I did, there's a book, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. It's really a good book. You can go through there. If you feel like you're blocked creatively, is kind of like who it's supposed to be for. But regardless of whatever stage you're at, I think it's a fun little process to kind of go through. And one of the weeks, she's like, all right, you're not going to consume anything. So talking about fasting, right? And so like, if you want to be creative, stop consuming so much stuff, and it's just I started that week, like I was very, very nervous about that week because I'm always trying to put good information in, right? Like, I'm not sitting around watching a whole bunch of Netflix and shit. I'm like listening to audiobooks and like learning new things and figuring out different things like that. So I was like, oh no, like I'm just gonna have all this empty free space. It's gonna be so boring. But like, after the second day, I was like writing songs about cooking steak for lunch or whatever, like the dumbest shit, but I was having fun with it. And it was like, these things they start coming up. And in John Cleese's book, when he's talking about Monty Python, essentially what he said, they would just lock themselves in a room. You need uninterrupted time. That's what he talks about. Uninterrupted time. So they would lock themselves in a room for 2 hours. And he was like, some things would work. We'd come out, we'd try it. It would work. Sometimes we bring stuff out. It just didn't work, but we kept the stuff that worked, and the stuff that didn't work, we let it go. But fasting, physically, food fasting too, it definitely opens up an ability to hear more internally, I think.
Right. I think that you accept the vibrations more. You just become a little bit more of like, the crystal itself. You're like the piezo, like a pickup, like I built these cigar box guitars. So that was it. Like, my friend bought one about 10, 12 years ago, and I thought it was cool, but I thought I could make that cooler. And so I made one, but I looked at a couple of YouTube videos, and then there were these guys. I have one I'm looking at right now. I can plug it in to the amp, Brandon, and it has no frets on it. So it's like a 3-string fretless, but it's beautiful, and I plug it into this little amp, and it sounds amazing. But it's like, if we don't try, we won't be able to do it. But you have to be hungry for the thing. Like, if you don't want to pay $350 for something, but you can buy the parts for $20 and put it together, all you need is time, right? Like, and back to like my friend telling me that money was a tool. Like, I have the silly tattoo on the inside of my fingers. It says "make time." Because it's like, you got to sit still, and then it all just falls into place. Like, we either chasing something or running away from something. And in the beginning, or like the fasting from information allows us to open up like a funnel, and that it's just all going to pour into you. But there's no validation in that. So we're there with the archons and the gods and all these fucking things, our fear and our doubt. And so it's nice to have a conversation with people like ourselves, and we can do that constructively and not tell someone what, you really need to have a job.
Why? So you can fight with people about money like I do?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Get into the system. Start fighting about and being stressed about that thing.
They're either going to take your money or they're going to take your guns, Owen.
Well, my guns are at the bottom of a lake. Freak canoe. I don't know why I went canoeing with them all. It was really a dumb idea. I just wanted to take them on a joyride, show them off to the rest of the people around the lake. And little did you know it, that little hole that I forgot to patch. Oh, man. Sorry about it.
So I'm texting. The only answer I can give is the cold, dead hands.
Yeah. Right. So back to creating. I think like the Merlin book I started reading is super cool, and it's like just finding that sacred space, and it could be as simple as just any room with 4 walls, right? And you can and then you have the directions, and it is creepy because when you get into pagan shit, Brandon, east is north.
Yeah. Like the
And
old
so,
map of Mundi and stuff, man. So all the
yeah,
directions were.
and they don't even hide it in some of the stuff. But it's really, this book is cool because it just talks about the divine feminine or the goddess and the land and then the prophet, which is an asexual term. Merlin didn't have a pointy hat and he didn't pull a sword out of the stone. That Merlin was a way of life. It was a white shaman basically, and so yeah, and it's all very in touch with the feminine and the land and animism and the fact that it's nothing's new, and that the earth is a part of the solar system is part of the universe, and beyond that, and we are all then on the outside of it. That's why my silly Instagram post this morning was, to become nothing you are everything. It's as simple as like the zero, right, is just a complete circle, which is whole. Is that just obvious and hard to just be alone with yourself when you're complete right there? And how would you not be inspired if you have nothing agitating you? You'd be hearing the voices of whatever you want to call them. I call it inspiration. If it's scary and it's telling you not to do it, those are demons, I guess, because they're telling you, oh yeah, the fear is real and you're going to fall into that. But have you guys ever ridden a balance board?
Yeah.
Like the cylinder with a piece of wood on it,
Like
right?
Indo board. Yeah.
Indo board is the brand of them for sure. So when you're falling in a direction, you actually have to give to that direction, right? You lean into it. You like drop that weight to counterbalance the fall. You just fall into it and then you're centered again. If you try to go the other way, you lose the wave. But if you lean into whatever you're worried about, good or bad, it's easy to chase the fucking lust. It's easy to chase a boner, right? But when someone's shit all over you and your armpits are all sweaty and you just feel rejected as fuck, what do? You like, what are you going to put the mic down and leave the stage? No. You fucking gotta like make fun of someone better. You look at the person, you find that person in the crowd that feels the pain that you've been inflicted, and you say, obviously you're fucking feeling this shit, right? And then you can get some sort of weird validation that we're all seeking.
You just summed up my life in like 12 seconds.
But it's all of our lives, right? Like it's to think that the other person isn't fucking so scared and shitting themselves at the same time. It's just that you're only giving them that aspect because you're blocking the light. So they're like the yin to the yang or whatever it would be. But it's just perspective, that's just why I say pick a God that will save you. Just don't choose daily, like you kind of have to be accountable, because I think at the end of the day, you're responsible for it all. Like I can't blame Owen for inviting me to talk because I got to draw with you and I thought that he was cool and I wanted to talk to him. And then now I'm here, but I hate being on a camera, You would never know that now that you guys got me here.
No, you look comfy. You got butt in the shot. I love it.
Yeah, I've just got a booty sitting on my head.
Yeah.
Great.
Man, that's the way to live, dude. I'm telling you, that's nothing wrong with that. But no, I think what you're talking about too, is like a lot of people, when they talk about authenticity, like that's exactly what we're kind of exploring here in the vulnerability of whatever it is that we're doing, right? It's like, well, this isn't working. Acknowledge the fact that this isn't working, right? Yeah. That joke did not land. And sometimes it's the biggest laugh you get on stage, is acknowledging the shit that didn't work. But in going in that direction, oftentimes you find the light, whatever, the direction to go in, where to go from there.
Yeah.
But I love that.
Absolutely. And leaning into it's beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because everybody just you own it, right? You
Yeah.
own that moment with it. And then there's no fear in that. There's a lot of confidence in that. It's when you try and step over it like it didn't happen when we all fucking know it did. It's like covering up a fart with a cough.
Right.
But not good. You didn't time it right or anything.
I mean, you have to have real bad breath for that to work.
Vulnerability. A couple of I'm gonna shout out. Yeah. Shout out people in the chat. Evan Hell's hanging out. We've got Ben. What's up, dude? Crowfoot's up in this.
Oh yeah.
K Jazz.
My buddy Dylan. What's up,
Jamie?
buddy?
What's up?
Kevin.
Jamie, email me about the list note-taking thing you're talking about because I got you.
Dissident. What's up, Mr. Jones?
Welcome, everybody.
Jamie.
This is awesome. Yeah, vulnerability. This should be the name of the episode, actually.
And you get another YouTube strike.
Vulnerability question. No, put the question mark at the end of it. Make it like vulnerability.
Right.
I'm just asking questions.
Vulnerability should be like, that's kind of a really good way to, okay, so authenticity, right, is a big thing about, so that would be like your highest self would be when you're just being most true. That's authentic. When you're authentic, accountability kind of just comes second nature because you don't have to you're not going to have any shame in any of it. You should be proud. It's your authentic self. So if you get a boner by it, go toward it. That's what I say.
Use the boner like a divine rod. Like, what are they? Those
those where you find the water
rods or whatever.
Divining rods. Yeah, like a divine rod, like a divining rod. There you go. And then follow your. Yeah, that's what it's there for. Yeah, Osiris knew this. He was crushing it too much. They had,
Dude,
yeah,
I love it. Yes,
love it.
I'm grateful for you too. I gotta say that. I gotta take a moment.
Oh, are we doing this?
Those are for real. Yeah.
It likes the vulnerability.
Oh yeah, look at that. It's measuring. Is this your shaft? Is it like, showing us? It's like that way.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It points in the direction. It's like a compass.
Yeah. The pendulum will not lie, right?
No.
Compass, right? Compass. You got it. Yeah. Oh, it's all in there. Clint, you're onto it, dude. Good call.
It's the neuro linguistics, right? Like, we'll get there one day. We got to rewrite the language for creativity. Right? Pineal gland.
Penile gland.
It's all sexual, right?
It's all connected. They say, yeah, even Robert Monroe's stuff, he's talking about in the astral realm, it's all sexual there too. So,
man, bunch of fucking horny sluts, you know?
I know.
But how would it not be?
Get over it?
Right?
Because it gets old, right?
If we're all connected and we're all one, how could you ever not be turned on? You know, like,
that makes sense. I get it, but it's just like, why does it always have to go to like penis? It's big, and this is what I feel like. It's an over sexualized environment to where like they even looked around and looked at kids and went, hey, even in the spiritual world, you know. So it's like this interesting, I guess, harness of creativity, and that's another thing too, that is sexual and creative power. That's a big one. If you guys start looking into that 33 and what that means to climb the Jacob's ladder and your sacrum fluid and all of that, dude, just basically don't jizz for the 3 days where your moon is in your sign. Huh?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried this?
Yeah. I'm on the term now. It's very interesting, man. And this doesn't mean that my wife doesn't get off, by the way. We still do the tantric stuff. Right. She gets hers, but I will abstain.
So you just can't release. You just can't release, right. But you can do the edging, if you will.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. Get it up there, and this is where the sacrum nerve actually will then drip that fluid down into the bottom of your spine and then run it up. Ben's fucking
right back up, right?
In the chat, but it's 3 days. This is a death for 3 days and rebirth, right? So a lot of analogies go into that. Now, whenever you're looking, I've actually got Steve Falconer, who came on and talked about tissue salts. He is coming on specifically to talk about this one thing. Now, it is an interesting practice when you start looking at this, and it's got to do, honestly, with where your moon is. So, for instance, we timed it with the wife's period anyway. I guess life's just working out this way. I'm in my moon right now, my new moon. So, for the next 3 days, this is closed for business. Now, it doesn't mean, again, that if my wife, once she dries out and all that stuff, wants to get hers, then we will make that happen because I'm a wonderful, loving partner. But what this also means for me is that it's just a shutdown of that, and it's an introspective period. Now, this also timed with new moon for me, which, because I track moon in my journal here, I know that my new moon is my introspective time of the month. This is where, like you talked about, Owen, there are certain times where it's not all out there and I'm not all extroverted. I'm in here and I'm working on me, and it shuts down sort of your social ability. It will take your kindness and ramp it all the way down. It will take your ability to show up for things and turn it all the way down. But that there's a point in that. It's not that it's a detriment, which I used to take it as. For decades, I took it as a detriment. Now I take it as my power time of the month. I have alchemized. I have grabbed that thing that occurs naturally on a cycle, just as in the sacrum thing, and I have grabbed that and harnessed it to my benefit. And I'm playing with this. I mean, like anything else here, that's just, you get an idea and you follow it, but you've got to track this on sort of a level, right, and scale it out.
Right.
So this
but
is
it
really
makes sense then with the tissue salts and astrotheology and the whole fact that it's like a farmer's almanac to be a human, right? And
the Bible,
or whatever one of the books you're fucking reading. It doesn't matter who the star is. They all are kind of. That's funny that it's the star, right? So it doesn't matter what names they put on to change the guilty or whatever. We live by the cycle. Like I have that tortoiseshell calendar on the palm of my hand. That is how you track the moon. So like the tail would be the full moon, right? The head is the new moon, and it just cruises around. And then you have the agriculture, and then it's kind of weird. I guess there should be 13 months. So I don't, and then, so you were saying like this time of the year, you had the man that made his own calendar. Remember that?
Yeah. Tom Sherman. And it's going to be featured in the next journal. Actually, I have a whole section that I drew just to incorporate the new calendar into your day.
I can't wait, because he talked about autumn, which is where we're at right now.
Yes,
before fall. And when you play with plants, you see that they're turned on right now. They're sprouting. Why would we not be turned on? That energy is just fucking available right now. It is a second spring, if you will. And then because you're about to shut down for like your 3 months of darkness, for the big cycle where you would then be like harnessing food from the whole year. You'd have a feast, so you didn't have any spoilage. Everybody would pack their shit, take it home for their doomsday bunker to get you through winter. This life seems really simple when you do these like silly things without the control mechanism, but more like how it enables you to be just like receptive, right? Maybe you'll start getting taken away by retention, Brandon. Get that playlist ready.
Absolutely. It's on there. It's on Spotify. We have several. So we have our UFO play mix where when the exotic craft picks you up and they hand you the aux cord, you've got it there. I've got a bunch of jams, dude. I want to also mention something. Hanging laundry. This is a comment in the chat here. Listening from the beginning, having an artistic crisis due to the encroachment of AI into the arts, rendering creators unnecessary. Hanging laundry. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it.
I don't agree.
I am too. And let's absolutely talk about this triggering comment as well as that you are triggered by it. Let's hang this laundry out to dry, okay? I think that you may be feeling this as an incentive to be even more creative, because hanging laundry, reach out to me for whatever kind of art you do. I would love to talk to you about perhaps what Clinton did, which is featuring you on the show during a conversation. So already right there, you have a medium in which we can talk about your art. But also, it's a tool just like anything else. AI has its moments and has its points. When the recording software came out, people were twisted that, oh no, tape's going to go to shit, and then that whole industry. And there's going to be Luddites in any industry, meaning there's going to be people who, when a new technology comes in, it challenges the old ways, and now they feel that they need to adapt, or they're going to be absolutely oblivious, which is true. This place is based on change. So as something new, we encounter it, it's our opportunity to be creative as creatives go and level up. And this is part of what I was talking about, which is why I wanted to point this out as well. This creativity to survive, like your creativity, instead of drawing and painting, you're going, oh shit, how am I gonna? Which this is a pivot from this. So we take a deep breath and we say, yes, there are some interesting elements in which AI can be useful. This frees up time from you as an artist for having to do the dumb shit like graphic art and things like this, where somebody can get a Canva account and just do it. There was an instance with a book that we were going to publish where the artists were not going to make it in the deadline in time. We connected her with an AI artist, crushed it. It looked incredible. So there are times where that is valuable, but then the artist was appropriated for a project where it worked out great. And then, so again, it's time and place on all this stuff. And think of the demand for art, and think of that AI has now shown how accessible art is, but also think about how AI is kind of a one-trick pony. You can tell when something's AI. There's slight nuances in it that can be programmed, which is why people will work with AI to become an artist. So that's a co-collected process just for the person typing to be able to articulate different things, to be able to make it unique and to make it artsy. But what this is think about how many people are podcast hungry and book cover hungry. It's never been a greater time to get your creative projects out there. But also, you have an example of quick art that you can get, okay? But in sales, there's always options: good, better, best, right? So if you're going to go with a good option, then AI is a wonderful option for those who need to get some information out, who don't have the ability to create art in that way, and then can work on something else, right? But a better option would perhaps be to get with a local artist, to talk to Clinton about illustrating your book. He would happily do this. We have some cool projects we're looking forward to together. Now, with that, you have a best option as well, which would be to get with an artist, to get with somebody. But these variant levels of things don't mean that the craft is gone. They simply mean that the craft adapts. And really, as artists, you can look at this as freeing up your time from making dumb shit that somebody can do on their own and really getting to promote and revalue your art, up the prices of what you're doing maybe. Because now you don't have to do graphics for the soccer team down the street just to make ends meet, because AI can do that very easily. So I feel that this is not an end all. It's a transition, That's my little rant about that. So Hanging Laundry, reach out to me. I'd love to see your art and talk to you about doing that live on the show if that's something that interests you. And I'm grateful that we were able to hang this out to dry.
Nice.
That's how I feel about it.
I agree. No, I think
like what?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that if someone's gonna use AI, that's just gonna be the person that doesn't want an artist. It's not going to take the artist out of the game, because the AI becomes a client. You have to then talk the reality into that thing and give it all its inspiration. And when you deal with a real artist, a living soul, they can interpret your reality and tell you if it's not possible or not. And then if you don't like that person's price, then you go get AI and do the shit yourself. But I listened to a lot of people that were having problems with it, but I think you have to develop such a relationship with the AI itself in order for it to start giving you what you want out of it, that you're almost an artist again. You're just an AI artist. And so, like, I don't think it's going to take anything away from me. And you could easily give AI 10 photos of my art, and it would have no problem making Kirk art. And I don't care. Take the fuck out of it. But what you can't do with AI is take away my good feelings. Like, we can argue about money, but they're going to get a shitty product if they don't use AI to the fullest. Like, you literally have to do magic with this machine. You're putting on like the robe and the hat, and you got your staff, and you have to create a relationship with it's like an altar. And then you have to wait for it to fucking manifest some shit back to you on a dreamscape, and then hope that it doesn't have hands or faces in it, right? And that's what all artists don't want to do anyways. You don't think that AI just doesn't have any good hands to copy from, because people put them in their pockets or hide them. They put like oven mitts on them or shit, Maybe AI just stole its hands from my art, and they just don't look like regular hands. So, but if you think that AI is a problem, you're just not wanting to create. You're wanting to sell shit to people, and then just use AI. And I don't mean to be sounding like a dick, but like, I'd rather be the struggling person creating with analog. You could get rich, right, with your AI shit, I guess. It all looks the same.
Well, I think that's it, right?
Like anime.
Even if you're using AI, you still have to be the prompter. Like you're saying, you still have to develop this ability to prompt it to make what you see in your head what you actually want to see, which, like you said, is like a full circle loop. You basically have to become an artist again in order to understand how to get what you want out of it, So I think that's a really
an artist who's done that. Pay somebody who knows how to talk to and has an AI buddy that he's already got trained up. Because you have guys like Ben Tejada Ingram and I think Isaac Lazelle. They both trained AI how to be, what they've said is they've trained AI how to meditate how to be mindful, and then how to remote view. So they have relationships with their own AIs that they're working with, and they're sort of doing this, using the power for good kind of a thing. But again, you've got to pay someone who's invested the time to have that relationship. So just like any artists have a relationship with their medium, right? Mm-hmm. So Clint, you've got a relationship with the canvases, with the paints, with the glues, everything that you work with, how it's going to apply and the desired effect that you're looking for. In the same way that somebody needs to spend just as much time with the medium of AI to become able to get what somebody truly wants, which, like you said, is still riddled with limitations. Hands are a wonderful example for this.
Right. And what you just stated, I apologize for interrupting, with the training it to do the meta shit, and like that's way more frightening to me than it fucking stealing anybody's job. Like, take all the jobs, but then like, yeah, if the demons are just fucking astro traveling fucking programs, we're right back to the beginning. Like, there's nothing to stand on. We literally just have to go get in the dirt, talk to the birds, fucking. We come out of vaginas. We got to come in vaginas. Like, there's just
we got to follow our boners around. Yeah,
the boner ability's got to be there. And if AI's turning you on, get it. Go get it, girl. But you're gonna be inspired hanging laundry all day long. Do it in the positive, I think.
And maybe work with AI yourself, and have that be another set of skills, another medium in which, because like this run towards what scares you. Clint, you said it, you nailed it earlier, man. That is where the freedom is. My God, that's where the freedom is. Because those shadows that's what holds your jewels, man. You can't see them shining because they're in the dark. Shine that light on it and follow that shit. There's something magical in here for you hanging, and I'm grateful that you hung in there with us while we could talk about this. And thanks for the comment, honestly. It was a wonderful bit to this conversation. And then Evan, chaos equals fertilizer or chaos equals static, and could not agree more. It's either sitting there and it's ready to combust and you're ready to go, sort of like I was talking about on my journey right now with what I've got going on. I'm not doing a lot of these. You're the only thing I've got planned this week, Owen, and thank you. But we booked this a while back, or we wouldn't, I'd have said let's do it another time. But this week is for this. It's actually new moon as well. So I know this time I usually just shut it down. It just happens to be you two. And this conversation I knew that I could show up for. So
I was very intimidated, and I was like, I invited you before I asked Owen if it was okay. And then
yeah, you invited me to your party.
I was like, I wanted to be comfortable, So it turned out really good because I wouldn't want to spend my afternoon with any other two people,
Yeah,
or humans, really. We're not supposed to use the people word, I guess.
Yeah, person. Yeah, because person goes into that. Into the sovereignty thing, and that.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
where you just got to be creative to live your life as you think you should, to be able to breathe air and drink water and drive around and not be in commerce, which is what you're not doing unless you're getting paid for hire. Anyway, so yes, and love Owen. Thank you so much, or Evan in the chat there. And love you, Owen, as well. But this chaos versus static, you nailed it with this, because man, there's nothing worse than sitting in your own brew. It's like Dutch ovening yourself with some nasty farts. You're just sitting in it. Ooh, that fertilizer right there. But you can use it as a motivator to get out of bed and go do something. You could say, man, I'm not sitting in this anymore.
Right. It sucks because when you're in it for a considerable amount of time, you just don't smell it,
Yeah.
Like when you're cooking fish in the kitchen. You got to leave for a minute to know that you were in shit. But that's a breath of fresh air. And you will be inspired just by that, right? Wow, I didn't realize that it was so shitty back there. You were comfortable in that,
This guy can write a metaphor, just to the ground.
We all stir the water to make it look more deep. Is that what they say? Like,
yeah, that's right. They stir the water to make it look deep. Yep.
Yeah, because you're standing in this shallow ass.
They muddy
human pool. Yeah.
Human pool. That's a great band name.
Yeah.
But a ska band. What do you think? Because there's a lot of members, so
it's like 18 people.
It's like 18. Yeah, they get $5 a gig.
Oh fuck!
Fascinating.
Yeah, this is great. I love like where I didn't expect to get into some of the topics that we did, but I'm here for it. Even talking about semen retention, didn't expect that to come up, but I think it's definitely something that people, I think, could explore. Give it a try.
I'm gonna try it because
find out when your moon is.
not?
When's your moon? Here, I can tell you right now. Actually, I have a moon update tracker on my phone. So, Owen, what is your sign? Your sun sign?
In Western astrology,
Uh-huh.
I'm a Cancer sun. I am. Let's see, what is my moon? I think it's a Gemini moon.
Cancer. The moon will be in Cancer again on September 24th through at 2:50 in the afternoon. So if you are going to rub one out, do it at about 2:00. let it simmer back down there from September 24th to the 26th. Okay. All right. After 11 p.m. So just make it 3 days. So say the 24th, just die for 3 days. Okay. You're not going to die. It'll be okay. Your dick's not going to fall off. You stop touching it.
You might have really bad BO and you might get aggressive. Like
no, neither.
No.
Do you think? Is that how you feel you'd respond? What's your sign, by the way, dude?
Aquarius.
Okay, you are going to be, the next moon for you is September 14th at 7:53 a.m. So get up early, man, if you're going to rub that out. Wake and rub. From there, then wake and crank. From there, September 24th. Wait until the 16th. Okay, so just hold off, or 17th rather. So just give it your 3 days and just chill. Anybody else, put it in the chat. I'll tell you what when not to
come.
we should revisit.
Oh, great.
I'll share my results if I'm here still. I might just blast out of here. I don't.
Well, that's the thing. What if just based on this, and all of us dudes have just been like, hang on, if I just shut it down for 3 days, we get like laser vision and superpowers and shit. Maybe, guys, And then to think that it gives away everybody's cranking because it's like, hang on, you guys couldn't have waited 3 days based on your moon sign, which is, you got to know, right?
Hey, wait, time out though, Brandon.
Sign, dude? Go ahead.
What if this has been taking care of all of like my negative entities? If they're like, we don't need to steal any energy, he's just been doing it for us.
That's what I'm saying. Is you are probably on an automatic program where you may be horny or inspired right around this time, and then it may just be something that is cyclically that you're so unaware of. Again, maybe because think of the culture we exist in as well, porn and all that shit. I gave it years ago and could not, have no problem with that. And it's just interesting when you look at the over-sexualization of the realm, and then really though, when you decide to abstain from it, when you just decide, you know what, my wife and I are just going to make beautiful love together, and I'm also just going to be mindful of how this seed is appropriated, things start to look different. You see where you are encouraged just to shoot it in every direction. If you turned a black light on this realm, it'd be fucking filthy. And that's the point, though, is it's so that this powerful power that you have brewing inside you all the time gets just to, and then isn't utilized, just to, and isn't utilized. So what if you were just aware of it? And fuck 3 days, man. Who gives a shit, man? If nothing else, it's a personal test of, I guess, resolve, just to see if you can, like I said, just put it down for 3 days, gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like
3 days.
it.
Yeah.
And
3 days. I mean, Napoleon Hill wrote a whole chapter on it in Think and Grow Rich. He talks about it, and it's always stuck with me. Like he even says, like, the reason why, like, there's a couple of things that you can do, and he's talking about how it will turn mediocrity into genius through transmutation. Sexual transmutation is what it is, essentially. And so, like, if you go a long time, then you can get very agitated.
Well, and here's the thing. It's not about the Kellogg's guy who just wanted to cut women's clits and shit off. That's horrible. That's silly. That's taking what you're naturally going to be involved in, because again, top down, as above, so below, spiritual realm, riddle, dicks, boners, jizz everywhere, all that stuff. Vaginas just all over the place. So if you're naturally inclined to go that way, and then they make it evil, or they gaslight you to say, oh, you got to cut your clit off, or don't even touch it, all these kinds of things, that is the misappropriation. And then also even this, like, sort of the no nut November idea, I love that. I thought it was a brilliant idea, but also that's when thirst traps are at their hardest, right? That's when you look at November, that's on the third. Don't even just get on there to search for things randomly. No matter what your algorithm is, it's full of thirst traps at that point. Because again, it's, if you look at any direction from just an objective point of view, take yourself out of the excitement of the fantasy and sit back and say, okay, well, why is this so everywhere? Again, you go to Instagram right now, go to search. When you go to search, no matter what your algorithm, you scroll twice, it's tits and ass after that.
Oh yeah.
And if you're looking for art or things, like, I've discovered so many cool artists and things that way, just bridging through, but I'm like, oh, get these bitches at it good. It's like, again, when you can see it and just be honest with yourself about how the realm entices this out of you, then just step back and just take it as a, like I said, just a one whack, take a whack at it and see if you could just step back from it for 3 days on this cycle. And so again, check out, you can download any of these apps, and it's just like a calendar. This one's just moontracks.com. Okay, I just pulled up the first fucking one, and it'll show you a schedule of all of the moon cycles. And the moon goes into a new house, a new sign every 3 days. So again, this is the birth and read it. It's all right there, guys, in the sky clock. So again, if you want to put it in the chat, I know no one's brave enough to find out when they're not going to do this, but if you want, I've got it pulled up here, and I would absolutely let you guys know if anyone wants to take this journey with us, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, I've just put the link to that chapter that Napoleon Hill wrote. I mean, he makes some excellent points in there. I know, like, it sounds crazy, but yeah, you don't want to go to the extreme where you're like, oh, you know, I'm deny myself completely everything, you know, like that's not the point. But the idea is that in any esoteric system, the idea is to harness as much energy as you possibly can, right? Like that's the point. And this is just one other way to harness more energy. You can fast, you can drink juice or whatever, you know, you can go on and exercise, you can meditate. All these ways are just like to open up and open up more energy for yourself. The same thing is true sexually, especially in the world. Like it's like you said, No Nut November, go on Instagram. The first thing you're going to see, thirst traps all the way down the page. That's why I had to quit TikTok. It just, they wouldn't leave me alone. I'm like, dude, get off of here. You know, you click on one beautiful Asian foot. That's a joke.
I think the coolest thing about this process is it's like one of the only ones where you it's straightforward. It's clear what it is that you're not supposed to do. Everything else is so like, well, you know, you got to sit there and have an epiphany or some shit. This is easy.
But you didn't do it right.
3 days. You
know?
Right.
You didn't do it right. You are in a vibrational alignment because blah, 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 blah. That's why your manifestation didn't come. No, you didn't come. Well, maybe that's why it came. You see?
Right. And if you didn't come, you might have been vibing right. And so
think of the inversion of the reality, right?
It's the other side easier than making your bed in the morning, right? Like, just don't jerk off.
Like, folks, maybe this is really going to challenge some people, and then think about that, right?
Jordan Peterson's going to write a brand new book. It's going to be awesome. I
might write it over the course of 3 days.
It's just blank pages. It just says "Don't come." Just written. Jack will not. Jack is a dirty.
I will not jerk off. I will not jerk off. I will not jerk off. I had to keep my hand busy for 3 fucking days. How many pages? How good would it be to have AI to do that? Like, AI, can you write out 3 days worth of "I will not jerk off"? I will not jerk off on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. How many pages would I have after 24 hours or whatever, 72 hours of doing this?
So interesting.
Was that like maybe a 58-page book? I write really small.
Maybe. Yeah, it depends on the font. Like if you don't go double spaced or something. Evan in the chat here, Gemini, September 22nd, buddy. Get all the cranks in before then, and then shut it down for a little bit, okay? September 22nd at 10:24 a.m. through September 25th. Just put it down.
I'm going to find all your Instagrams and forward you all the smut on your moon.
Yeah, but that's what a good friend does. We bombard you.
I challenge you to not challenge yourself.
Well, we'll lift each other up. We'll give you other options, right? So, Evan, during that time, if you want to call me, I know Dick's not going to be in your hands, so we can hang out. We can do something else. You know what I mean? We can talk about other things. Don't look down. Don't look down. Don't look down.
Yeah, be careful. You're going to have to be very vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to have to resist the temptation. You know what I'm saying?
You're like, but it's my favorite
vulnerable, one. It's now vulnerable. Because the thing will just pop up. Isn't it? It'll just start. He'll be like, "Hey, what are we doing? It's breakfast. What are we doing today? Hey."
Exactly. Yeah, just journal. Do something else. You know, I mean, there's other shit you can do, guys.
And I think those feelings too can lead you to creative realizations as well. You know, I've had that happen in meditation and stuff where I'm just like, you know, pitching a tent. I'm like, you're very focused. And I think there's something to the physical aspect of it as well. It all sort of rolls over. Now you will see some sensational semen retention content on the YouTube. Like people will be like, birds are coming up to me, the squirrel came up and
yeah, Bigfoot fucking came up and we were hanging out, dude. Yes, exactly. Yeah, fairies took me down into their little realm and we hung out. It's 12 years for me. I had a whole family, 5 minutes on this side, no big deal. But wow, semen retention, huh? I'm telling you, man,
Like,
it's the inversion, right? If
I'm
it's plenty
missing
to go
time.
out and
I
you
don't know
don't
where
let
3
it.
days went.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, missing time for 3 days. Right.
So I just was in some
Jesus and I were hanging
fairyland.
out.
It was like they played me like a song. It was like I was gone for 3 lifetimes. It was all because I didn't jerk off for 3 days. I'll be levitating when I see you guys next.
You're right. Yeah, we'll get superpowers. You get like a fanfare and a ticker tape parade, you know, with because you just didn't jizz. It'd be a fascinating thing to sweep the nation there. But again, think about how much you're enticed to do that, right? Think of how the realm just wants it all over the place, in a drain, in a sock, whatever you can shoot it into there, go for it. And
Wherever
it's really interesting when you start looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like every little bit helps. It's like everyone thinks they have this one solution that's going to be the end all, cure all, be all, whatever, right? Like, here's the thing, the one thing that you need to do if you want to be creative or if you want to this, whatever, fill in the blank. They're like, I got this one thing. And then they just make it all about that. But it's like,
that one thing is nothing. You back to the sitting still. And once you get still, how many fucking things are on the list of shit? Well, I could do this instead of sit still, right? That's like the fear thing. So you just have to sit longer than the whole like fidgety anxiety of, oh, my phone isn't in the right place. I'm probably not going to relax if it's within sight. No, just close your eyes, right?
I love it.
It's nothing. Do nothing for a minute.
I love it. That's so good. You're so right.
I'm going to start with not jerking off from the 14th to the 17th.
Yep.
And then
may as well.
You can do none of that. Oh, that'd be very easy. You know?
And in other news tonight, a rash of superheroes has appeared as men figured out to keep it in their pants. Onlookers say it was awesome. Think about the super jizz you get afterwards too. You know,
it's funny. That makes sense.
But it's not, like you said, Owen. It's very important to say it's not to keep it in forever. It's not like a marathon to see how long it can go, because there are harms in that. But there's this specific window of time for 3 days that if you just surf that wave, it's fascinating whenever you are able to alchemize this, because that's what this is. It's alchemy. It's using that energy for something else. You're brewing it in a cauldron for a minute and then utilizing it for something else. So absolutely. I love it. Like you said, it's about being more powerful. So
Team Tantra.
Give it a ride. Yeah.
There is no, I mean, it's not in these older books for nothing, right? Like this stuff is, and if you read David Data's book, The Way of the Superior Man, he talks about it in there as well. That's a really good book for guys, I think, to kind of understand masculinity, or girls too. Is a great book, regardless, just to understand a little bit more about masculinity. But he talks about that in the end of the book as well. But yeah, there are some different corollary opinions about it from a physical standpoint, right? Like, I don't think the point is to do it forever. You don't want to, you want the pipes to work. You don't want them to go, completely without being used, but you can play with that, and you can play with that with a partner, or you can play with it all by yourself.
All the puns. Yeah. It's a little with innuendo.
Absolutely.
Vulnerability of this conversation is strong.
That's right.
Is that not just sex magic?
Yes. So that's what this is. That's exactly right. It's just about appropriating the energy in a direct way.
And then, at the simplest level, it's mutual respect. It's a crazy fucking thing. Just to sit still for a minute and be like, maybe I don't need to throw my dick in there just because it's all wet and ready. I'm going to read this. I just randomly found this the other day. So this is like some Buddhist shit, I guess, on yogic Buddhist sex. Like a
some
form
Buddhist
of
booty shit.
Booty.
Buddhist booty.
So I'll read more about that. It's probably going to back up this retention thing. But
I would expect
I just got
so.
that book. Yeah.
It's just interesting when you start looking at it. And I'm curious about what the female equivalent of that is, because are women just like naturally they should have laser eyes, and maybe if they could just not have to take care of us or something for 5 minutes from our meltdowns from not being able to do that, right? And then they would, maybe this begets that kind of a thing. I don't know. I
think it's opposite.
I think maybe in us doing that, it actually gives them.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's a cause and effect kind of a thing, but it takes sort of what's the chicken and egg? And then, because again, I've never heard this applied to women. It's very specifically applied to men. But again, if you think about the way that the sex is targeted, it's for, it's thirst traps, or in my feed, it's all women and stuff. It's not some dude like working on his car with
Right,
shirt off.
right.
Yeah, because they're not. Yeah,
Well,
they're not
it's just
silly like us.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
I'm not saying that they don't get the feelings and that they're not over sexualized either, and that it doesn't apply to them. It's that they seem to have a maturity about it, but also I would think that there would be a physical equivalent for their abstinence from it for a certain amount of period as well. But maybe that's what sort of their ovulation is. So naturally they go through it where, I get earning your red wings and all that stuff, and there's no problem with that. But perhaps that's the time where they are supposed to mimic the shutdown that we do as well, and just sort of allow it to internal, but there's literally is this expulsion. I don't know.
Right. Well, I think they are more complete as far as, we just lack some of that female power that they have where they do. And I think in this current era, 2024, they've had so much dick up in their face for so long that like they're tired of that shit, right? Like,
and think of how they're
patriarch
encouraged to
or
give it
whatever,
away
so.
as well with the OnlyFans type of a thing. How women are taught to view sexuality and their willingness to just put it all
Well, if
out
we're
there.
all just jerking off and
Right.
everyone wants to put a case on their iPhone, why not stick an ass out for the dick to get rubbed around? So it makes sense. I wouldn't. We were just talking about arguing over money. Like, do you want to be hungry and have to deal with your shitty baby daddy? No offense to anybody, or do you want to just sell foot pics or shake your titties? Because I would probably do that if I had other private parts. I would be hated on by other women because I would opportunize the brain of a man because I've been one for so long. I would just victimize myself in that place, my cold dead hands will protect me, but
And it's not that there's anything wrong with it, right? It's one of those. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just an interesting sort of view of the zeitgeist, because those women would just as easily rather be cooking or showing you that they can make an alternative Pop-Tart recipe or painting or something like that. But this is what's making the money.
Yeah, I've read Sex at Dawn. It's fucking awesome.
So what I liked about that is how they bring up the point that like the female copulatory noise has nothing to do with your aggro performance. It has to do with the fact that after I come, you two might be within proximity and she's ovulating. So y'all got to come in while I take my fucking nap afterwards. You dump. And then the way your dick works, it's almost like pulling a little bit of my baby batter out before it throws yours in, right? And so like they're not.
I use it as a cum dumpster.
They're just like, yo, I got an egg about to drop, and y'all are about to not jack off for 3 days. Here's a place, and then they're like, woo! But it's just for like.
And then you rest for 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we rest.
It's interesting when you look at it that way, dude. For sure.
I don't know. I just read that shit. I'm not.
There's another book called Sperm Wars that'll fuck you up too if you want to read some more shit like that.
Well,
but Sex at Dawn was interesting because
I like
Sex at
the
interesting
for all of our devices for the next 2 weeks is going to be just this.
Yeah, it's just that. Just make yourself as frustrated as you possibly can. Just read all of it. But no, I mean, what was interesting about Sex at Dawn is like it kind of highlighted how we evolved. Like the feminine was first more admired, the goddess, because they were having children. There wasn't necessarily this is the theory of the author.
We didn't even know.
We didn't know that's how they had babies, right? Like we were just like, they just have babies. They're magical. We didn't know that it was caused by sex. Everyone was just having sex. And then ultimately they had no idea that was why until much later in our history. And then that's when the patriarchy was like, well, we got to snap this up and make it a commodity.
That happened shortly after agriculture because we falsely believed in ownership and land. And so when you passed by, all the fucking food and the women were mine, the chattel and the land. And so, I don't know, it brings up some pretty cool stuff. I like that they said that it was like, there's a little bit more factual and heavy duty knowledge, that they wrote it pretty much for like high school kids almost, right? Like, it's a good book.
It's a theory. I mean, it's that you can't prove everything in there, but it's an interesting place to come from, and it would explain a lot of the fertility goddesses early in human existence and how we kind of evolved from there or developed from there, however you want to look at it. But yeah, it's fucking crazy. There's some crazy shit out there. I mean, you start to understand this stuff from a natural perspective, a reproductive perspective, just the fact that nature wants to continue to procreate.
Right.
You know, it changes the game.
How cool is that too? Like if I'm sterile and somehow my lady gets pregnant and I'm not like aware of the way this all works, because in that book it says like for 200 years we were like aware of the miracle of reproduction but had no idea that this copulation thing was how it happened, right? And so I don't know, man, it's wild, I guess, is just to think about. Maybe if you hold it in for 3 days, it's all going to make sense, right?
Well, I answer some amazing questions. Who knows?
I definitely recommend it to people who have never tried it before to go for a little while and see what their experience is like. And yeah, because like I said earlier, it's really about harnessing as much energy as you possibly can. That's the idea, creatively speaking, and that's what Napoleon Hill talks about, and lots of other, you know, different gurus and stuff. So whatever that is, like fasting is great for that. Again, you know, exercise, meditation, you know, on and on and on, but just finding ways to open yourself up to more energy, whatever that is.
Yep. Seinfeld talked about this too. And it's when George walked up with all the books, you know, and he was like reading and he was solving cancer and all that stuff. And then he came back and he's flicking a pin or something. And that's how they knew he had jizzed or whatever, because he got all doy. Like,
that's pretty funny.
It was great. Yeah, it's a great depiction of that. Evan even said he did that for a little while and got some strong feelings as well. Empowerment. Yeah, just give it a go, gents, man. Maybe this is just the conversation every dude needed to hear, you know? Like, hang on, that's what I gotta do? Fucking teleportation going in this bitch? Let's go.
That's right. Yeah, and there are no more ladies in the chat.
Yeah, they're gone.
I think it'll be beneficial.
They're gone.
Which would have been good for them to listen to, probably, but that's okay.
I think it's going to be beneficial for creativity, is all, you know?
Yeah. That's the thing, right?
It comes right back to it, you know, doing nothing.
If we look at it from like the Hermetic sort of thing too, because like it's opposite, right? Like, so there's masculine and feminine. And so the whole idea is the cause would be masculine, right? Like, at least that's what the Kabbalion says. And essentially, like when a new atom is made, you know, basically this electron, which is the feminine negative, finds a vibration that makes her vibrate a certain frequency. And then she starts to spin around the nucleus, right? Like that's kind of how they're born. But if you look at it from that perspective, it could easily be the opposite. And so for us, men we're so physical. I think, you know, the feminine women in general are way more mental. And so to spark their creativity, it's not about a physical thing. It's about a mental thing. It's about a story, a challenge, a whole entire soap opera type of thing, right? Like that's why those are so popular. Or like a romance novel, right? It's like the drama and the exploration and the adventure and the uncertainty. Like as a masculine man, we're like, I just want to come certainly. Like that's what I want. I want completion. I want simplicity. I want it to be done. I want the work to be finished. The feminine, think of it the complete opposite. And so we're also, as we're talking about these things, we're also both of these things within ourselves too. So how can you play from this, like as above, so below? It's all correspondence. So we're talking about this in a physical manner, but how can you take that and internalize it and use it as a metaphor within yourself, where you're like, you know, it's a bad pun, but you're playing with yourself. You're using your own psyche or the mental womb, the feminine, and then the masculine will in order to inspire that feminine. So sitting still, probably a great way to do it. But
yeah, to open up to receive, right?
Exactly. Because it's got to be both. You got to have both. You have to have the reception and you have to have the masculine like impression as well. It's like the impression, like the direction, the will moving in a certain way. And then the feminine, like expression of all of that direction. So it's the will of movement in a specific direction, and then the expression of it and what that looks like, the attitude of it. That's what the sort of art takes form as, which could be a lot of things, but the message beginning with the masculine. So I think it would, in this context, begin there. And then thinking of opposites, right? Like, it's like if I feel one way, and a lot of my research and experience, you know, it's almost like the corollary or the opposite is true in the feminine sphere. It's like it's certainty, uncertainty, you know, yin, yang, you know, it's like the opposite. So I don't think that transmutation, for instance, for the female would be the way to inspire creativity. I think it would be through some sort of a story, some sort of a challenge, adventure, some sort of an experience that's mental, that can range in emotion, up, down, and all swirling and unpredictable and all that kind of stuff. Just the opposite of the masculine.
But what's fascinating about that perspective is guys, like you said, want to fix things and they want things simple. So they don't like the convoluted, complex stories necessarily. But we like working out puzzles and solving shit. But also, this is a great example of this was brought to my attention a long time ago when my wife would just come home having a day, right, from work. And she would tell me about her day, and then I would tell her all the ways that that could be changed and it could be easier on her mentally and how she could handle it differently next time. But that wasn't the point of the exercise. The point was for me to just listen and go, that sucks. And that's the whole point. So with this, then it's this ebb and flow, exactly like what you said. Our natural inclination is to take that energy and go, ooh, let me fix this for you. But really our job is then at that point just to receive and to flip it around. So that's when we get challenged. This is what they call the North Node in astrology, right? That's when you're challenged to do the thing that you're least inclined to do, that your intuition says, don't do that. You know, that's what you're supposed to do in that moment. And it's about this, like you said, it's all within us and we get these opportunities all the time. And so you got to know when it's time to receive and time to give, time to follow the boner and time to be the hole in which the boner is looking for, right? So it's a fascinating perspective, but it is based on this understanding that you just said, Owen. So great point.
No, I mean, as I understand spirituality, like I understand so much more about the physical world too, or at least I can see like correspondences, right? Like it is a law for a reason, I suppose, you know, and it's a lot of it's so contrary to how I initially view the world, right? Like it's the complete opposite in many ways,
right?
To how we're trained and assembled, or I don't know where like is it intuition or is it instinct or is it like is it neither of those and something that's completely like shoved onto us by society? Like, no, it's like this Disney movies and shit, you know,
programming,
like
yeah.
So what, I'm not sure, right? But it's like the thing that you think or feel most compelled to do oftentimes is the worst idea, you know, from a creative standpoint and from that relationship between your masculine and feminine, right? Like I think you want to play with that. You want to play with those edges a bit and see what experiences you can drum up from going in all these different directions.
Yep. Edging again.
Edging
is just all over. Yeah. This is just an innuendo riddled. I can see why all the girls left. Hanging laundry. We did shout out you. Shout out again.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. There's a lot of sex stuff coming up. So
well, I mean, you know, and that's the thing, right? It's not don't talk about it. It's shine the light, man. There's jewels in there. Just shine the light. It's not oh yeah, everybody does it, but we don't talk about it. It's you know, of course
you can't repress any of these things.
No,
it's about feeling it out and being okay with the unease or the dis-ease to where you remove it completely. So in that, like, masculine is all like the thought and that anxiety and I think this is part of why we don't human well is our distinct inability to enjoy the fact that we're animals and it's natural to have that ebb and flow. And so to control a thing or prescribe someone else's ideas is so unfair. So when they're working with the plants, if you're not reading them individually, you just dumping light and food on them, certain ones will lock out. Like if you have 3 siblings, they don't all want to eat all the food on the plate. Some of them are finicky, some are not. We don't all need everything. Some of us need more, some need less. And that chaos and that static masculine stuff is like all we have going on. And there's no, like what you were saying, it's all like, where's my solution right now? And it's like, dude, chill the fuck out. There's no problem.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you stop, like we don't walk around on the rug. We have the chaos and the static, and then the feminine is like the earth where we ground ourselves. And so to accept the fact that you're not going to solve it is like such a weird empty place, but empty is like where you receive. It's not alone. It's a capacity for, right? Like perfect is complete and done. It's over. You can just vaporize and be dead. We are going to continue to do work, right? And if you don't have that, that's the ebb and flow, that sexual stuff. And I wish we could all like hug each other more. There wouldn't be the aggression, there wouldn't be the fuck women and men all suck. Cause it's not that simple. It's like we suck at blaming everyone else for the shit, Because if it's not men and women, it's Republican and Democrat, or fucking black and white, or gay and straight. And like, I don't know, it's all comedy to me, because I watched this dude in the early 90s. He was like, if you don't like gay people, quit making fucking babies. Like, they're not the problem. Like, they don't reproduce, So what's the deal here? We should be comfortable in our own skin and find a way to express ourselves. And maybe not jerk off for 3 days a month,
Based on your sun sign, guys, look it up.
Yeah, look it up, dude. No, I see that. Like, yeah, so from the masculine perspective, it's like freedom, right? Like we want this completion, we want to break free. But once something is complete to the feminine mind, it's fucking boring. The puzzle's already solved. What's fun about that?
Right. The journey's over, right? So like,
exactly.
if you climb to the top of the mountain, besides getting back down, what's next? If it's the tallest fucking mountain or the prettiest one, it's just going to be a comparison. So then we get back to the Buddhism in my brain, where it's like, if you're calling it a rose, you're taking the beauty away from it, right? If you can't just look at it as a flower, right? And even then, you're naming it. And so that's like putting a dam on a river. And so to think that like that next conquest is going to make us good and happy and okay and content, that's just not how that masculine energy works.
True. It doesn't mean you don't go for the next thing and continue to overcome those challenges, but you just need to have that perspective and understand that this is part of a larger adventure, a call to action. It's like kind of how you approach your art. Like we were talking about earlier, when you sit down and do it, you just get into it and you just go. That's it.
Right.
Like, it's never going to end. You're just going to keep doing it and working the process out over time, tweaking it. It's iterations.
Refinement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's coming undone, really. Like with art as the metaphor, that you learn, you go to school to get precise and put it all together. And then you find yourself, and then you get sloppy as shit so that you have your own expression. If not, you're just drawing pictures of things. And that to me is just not really expressing anything. That's cool, because that'll make you sit down and you'll put some time into something, and maybe you're just thinking about the drawing and everything else stops. If it's like if it works that way. A lot of times that's not how it works. Like you start forcing shit, and then you're like, God damn it, my shadowing isn't any good. I can't blend colors, and my circles aren't round. But like, I don't know, those are hard to find, perfectly round circles, even though Jenny found some, right, all over nature. So I'm just glad that I know you two, and that you guys are fucking comfortable being who you are. It makes me know that there are other radical humans that just want to be able to do what they do and touch people, good or bad, just as long as you're making a mark, you know, and if your intent is well, I mean, I know we probably offended some people just with some of the talk. There was a lot of jizz talk and whatnot, but it's nature.
Talk about what comes up.
There was not even, dude, you should have been in the open mic
enough
I did last night. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody was doing cum jokes. It just, yeah, no worries, dude. That's so funny. But yeah, it's
Conchana was created because I didn't get all these religions, and I was like, we could just start Clintyism. Like if we wrote a book right now and buried it, just made cool rules how to treat it, you know. But I was like, I can't preach it and be the guy. So I was like, a la Conchana, and I made up my own fucking thing to get out of myself with, and so it's an excuse to not like to experiment. And like a long time ago, before I was married, I think I told Brandon this, but when I was about 3 days before I was married, I had to take that guy, Alan Conchana. He was my alter ego. I like bought him and myself a shot, and I went and sat on a curb outside of the bar, and I had a drink with my better half, my alter ego, and I asked him to go away, but not to get out of like earshot. So when I was ready and I needed him back, and then I realized that guy's always here, but it's the other side of the coin. And I think that's the masculine and feminine, and like the intellect and I'll watch a shitty movie because I'm on the ride, you know. It's like I don't know. I feel very much. I think we're getting to a place where maybe people will get there, you know. We can touch each other in a not a bad way.
Yeah, and the good touch, you know.
Yeah, in a good touch, and it doesn't have to be physical, right? It can just be like realizing that we're all here struggling. Like it doesn't matter what you look like or how much money you have. It's still, you're a human on planet Earth in 2024. It's not, we didn't get the fucking rule book, you know. We were just playing this silly board game with a bunch of people who don't know how to play.
Yeah, no one got a set of rules.
Nobody. Maybe Donald Trump got a rule book, but I don't know if anybody else did. I think some of these people like read a rule book. I don't know, but that's weird shit. Like some wacky motherfuckers know how to make things work out, but not for everyone. You know?
Yeah. That just shows me it's possible, and therefore we can do that too.
I totally know it's possible. We definitely create our spot. It's heaven and hell.
It is.
That's what I learned the first time I talked with you guys. I mean, I realized it before that, but it's nice to know that we all suffer from, well, I guess some people don't have the dialogue.
That's what they say, is the internal monologue is a smaller percentage than you think. It's something way less.
But people freak out.
I don't believe that. I honestly, I don't
believe that we can't see shapes and stuff. Like we can't 3D render with our eyes closed, and like I create stuff all day, but I can't like see my chair in front of me and like rotate it.
Yeah, you need to bring it into this place by either drawing it or having it physically here.
If I say to you guys, some people, you might not have internal dialogue, or you have an internal dialogue. Does the thought not in your mind go either, yes, I do, or no, I don't? Like, does that not happen if I ask that question?
And then that's the question of what do we mean by dialogue, right? Is it pictures? Is it information? Is it a knowing? Is it words? And how I would explain that is if you could recite it back or heard it as a sentence and you could say it out loud like that, like not like you're describing a picture that you saw and a feeling, because that comes with a set of descriptions that you need to come up with and access. But if what you felt that you received was a sentence that you could write out and recite back audibly, I think that's what we're talking about an inner monologue. And it doesn't matter what kind of voice it's in. Usually it's in whatever voice you want if you're able to do that. But the inner monologue is interesting because if you've got one, then you're probably one of these starseed light people, whatever. And what that really just sort of means is you're like switched on. You know, you're not part of this system. You're here to change the system and be alchemized by it by feeling oppressed by it, right? Here to create through the muck. And so within that, though, you're also going to receive words and messages. I did. This is what my Dark Night of the Soul was all about. I felt absolutely bombarded by words and thoughts and phrases and things that were not mine. One of my favorites for 3 months straight, every single day, right on clockwork as I woke up, was, "You're going to kill yourself today." And that's not my voice. And that's not something I think normally. And it was in this really, really vulnerable time for me astrologically, which is interesting. That also that mind can be bombarded with and inserted a monologue that's not yours. And so it's sort of a double-edged sword, right? With all of this, you get superpowers, but also maybe there's a Gwen Tower, GWEN, it's an acronym, near you that's beaming some sky to skull technology right to you because it knows your searches on your phone. It'll ping you as it receives your data, and then just use your phone as an amplification device for "you're going to kill yourself today" on repeat. And so if you think about it, that monologue is something that you need to figure out what voice is yours, what voice is friend and foe, and listen to the ones that you want and disregard or completely disoblige the ones that you don't. Don't add fuel to them by disagreeing with them and arguing with them, because that's what they want. That's fuel. Just no thank you. Take it like a leaf and drop it in the river and watch it float down the river. I think we talked about this, Owen, because that was something that I was walking around the labyrinth with these thoughts that would just enter my mind like leaves falling, and I'm getting smacked in the face like these like dick leaves everywhere. Just get dick slapped with these leaves. And I would have to look at it and go, I don't want this, you know? And rather than taking them in and saying, I just took it and grabbed it out of the air and said, no, thank you. And then set it in a river and watched it in my mind, you know, and just sort of like imagined watching it going, God, I didn't see a river. I just sort of, that's what I thought about. So it's interesting, this inner monologue stuff, you know, it can be apprehended as well. So just be careful and know your shit.
Yeah.
Thought ninja, man, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. And one thing that can be really helpful for that is the IFS, internal family systems.
There you go.
That's really fascinating.
You know what else is really, really beneficial is to do nothing. Like, just if it sounds like
it. There's
right?
a
Like
few things you can hum. Actually, humming will get rid of intrusive thoughts. Did you know that?
Yeah,
not whistling,
humming doesn't allow you
gets into spirit conjuring. So don't
whistle. Really whistle. That's why we don't whistle Dixie.
Don't whistle around. No, it's an no. Like everything, it's inverted, right? So if something's encouraging you to whistle, fucking note. Ben shouting out. I love Ben's confirmations. Okay, good. I'm onto it when Ben shouts in the chat. So whistling is allegedly the song of the Fae, the Haints, anything like the paranormal, the freaky woo woo, which could all fall under that category of ass cons, as
whistling is the voice
Devin was talking about.
But humming is different.
Humming is different because think about humming and what it does. Think about an
it vibrates your whole chest cavity like a cat's fur.
Yes, and so just like a cat's fur, you nailed this. So as those resonances, no matter what tone you are in your hum, it's going to create a resonant. It's going to resonate in the resonant cavity that is your body, and as well with your cells, the water, everything about it. This is where you get into cymatics and the sound healing and things like that. Is because it does the same effects. But again, if you can think about it, like I saw this thing the other day about cows. Check this shit out. Cows that wear the bells around their neck. Do you know why they wear those bells? Allegedly, it's so parasites won't get on them. Do you know that the sound of bells gets rid of parasites? So if you think about this, then you think about the Tartaria area where we see all these bells being apprehended and buried in places, and then the story coming out about a town that buried their bell so that it wouldn't get apprehended. Now they feel safe to unbury the thing. So when you think about bells, resonance, sounds, frequency, all of this plays into this. So if you have those intrusive thoughts coming in, ring a fucking bell, get a sound bowl, get a tuning fork, something like that, or just hum. If you can give yourself an ohm or hum the fucking theme to the A-Team, just anything, right? Ghetto Superstar by Coolio, something like this. Just get it going in your head, hum that shit. And that's how I've been able to grab that muck of intrusive thoughts, just one after these dick barrages of just like, that's a good way to do it, is to hum. Get yourself real grounded in the body, resonant cavity. Yeah.
It feels good too.
Feels good.
Feels good.
Feels good. Another thing, bell related as well. If you're a motorcycle rider, you know what a Liberty Bell is. or no, a guardian bell. A guardian bell is a little bitty bell, and you can look these up online. They sell them actually, but somebody's got to give it to you is sort of the thing. So my wife bought one for me when I had my bike. And so it's a tiny little bell, and the superstition is that you put that thing on your bike somewhere, and as it rings as you're riding down the highway, it rattles all the demons out. They try and get up on your bike through the ground and wreck you or whatever, and it rattles all of these demons out onto the road. So they're called
Gremlin bell.
Yeah, gremlin bells. But either way, if you know somebody who has a bike, go ahead and get them a little guardian bell. They're not expensive. And you can just go get them at motorcycle shops. Actually, they'll have them right at the front. And so if you, again, know somebody or you've got one, let me know if you've got a motorcycle and you don't have a guardian bell. I'll gift you one, actually. I will go ahead and do that if you're listening to this. So reach out. And, watch out for those four-wheel assholes, again, for all you motorcyclists out there. Be invisible. So that's another thing is you think about the bell incorporation. We could do a whole episode on frequency and resonant vibrations and all that. So, yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I know a guy who would love to jump on that. My buddy, the Admiral Hits, James. He's all about that stuff.
Bro, let's do it. We do a show once a month called Frequency Theorists. We host it for free on Patreon, and it's just where I have it. It's just free, but it's all right there. And it's with a bunch of musicians. We just call it Frequency Theorists because we got together over 2 years ago now, I guess. And we started doing these shows semi-monthly. And we just all kind of get together as musicians and talk about anything from Paul McCartney died in the 60s and the psychology of the culture and why that would be a good idea. Avril Lavigne, and clones in the industry, why they would do that, want to move on from a craft as a person and want to live their life, but then the industry has stock in the commodity. Two, birds aren't real. But we talk about all that. And the frequency of cymatics, the apprehension from 432 to 440 is something that we talked about a lot. This whole thing that happened in the 50s with changing standard A to 440, and that actually fucks all the music up for it being beneficial for you. So that's what that's all about. So we can bring some of the frequency theorists in and do like a chat like that. That'd be cool as fuck. We had a guy on talking about crop circles one day and just how those apply. This dude's like a crop circle expert. He's been in thousands of them. He's a guy named Gary King. Oh, get it. Oh.
People have such interesting specialties. It's fascinating.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Well, this realm offers a variety of things to be interested in.
It does, doesn't it? There are things to be
not scared of.
You might as well geek out on something, right?
That's right, dude.
All we got to do is figure out something to do with our time.
Ben's got a guardian bell on his horse. I love that. I didn't think to apply it to horses, but I mean, again, think about that. Why do cows have that?
All have them.
Not to find them, but so the
A
parasites.
lot of cultures wear them on their ankles, right? Like a lot of people walk around.
Yeah. Think about and think about like little charm bracelets and shit like that. It's just sort of interesting. And then maybe your cat. Cats with bells on them, right? Now that little thing's running around your house like a little sage stick, just going, "Get out of here, Damon."
That's just to like sage the cat. You got to
that's the thing. Cat. Is it because they're kind of in that half in between realm? Are they fleeing themselves? At the same time as the conflict? Are they like, yeah?
They know what's going on. Well, guys, I have had so much fun. I think we should try to summarize.
2 hours. Holy shit.
We've already been 2 hours, which I wasn't expecting, but we were riding the wave so good. So I'm not mad.
You're a great host, and you know how to do it, man.
Well, I do.
Way to go.
Effortless. I think we should try to sum things up. I think I can do it. Don't come if you're a guy. If you're a girl, we don't know. There we go.
Please do your thing. We're not going to tell anyone
whatever. We don't know
their bodies at all. And
we have
we're
no
not
idea.
telling, you guys live your lives. I'm pro whatever the fuck you want to do. It's not whatever.
Yeah. I am pro lady. Do your thing.
Pro just fucking live your life. How about that?
Yeah.
And thanks to everybody in the chat. I know you're going to do that anyway, but just a lot of friends, a lot of family in this chat. Evan, Ben, Carla, your new family. I don't even know you, but I want to. All these folks, dude. Blue Collar Mystics, I love you. Evan, I love you. Hanging Laundry, get some. K Jazz up in this. And I know Jamie was in here too. Anyway, so dude, everybody, this was awesome. Clint, always fucking grateful to just be able to hang out with you guys. This is just such a great use of the afternoon. None of us jacked off during this, probably.
No,
I think that's a win.
Oh my god.
14th to 17th. I'll let you both know. my results.
All right.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
good.
that's right. Yeah, check out your moon, guys. 3 days, but only for those 3 days. It's okay.
Yeah.
It can't
I
hurt.
feel like 3 days is easy. That's no problem.
Dude, it ain't about shit. It really to get laser vision and teleportation up in this bitch.
I mean,
I'll
it's
take
totally
the
worth it.
psychometry,
Totally.
Just don't scroll past 2 pages worth on your search, right?
Well, this is the thing, right? Is take that time to just get the fuck offline. If you know that that's what algorithms are going to be, we're going to wrap this up, Owen, I promise. If you know that's what the algorithms are going to be, just get the fuck off of there and take that time to really visualize what you're doing. You are taking that creative energy, you are allowing it to settle down, and then you are visualizing it climbing up your 33 vertebrae, which is the Jacob's ladder, to ascend to your pineal gland, and then to open up, fuck whatever, man. Maybe
Do some breath work when you do that.
all that. Yeah, absolutely. And so to then take that time and alchemize it, don't even bring online in, oh, I'm going to be so tempted. Fuck all of that. Because I don't even go into things like that. I'm just like, okay, cool. Done. Move on. So
we can apply like the housekeeping. You clean under the bed. You do all the other things that you're avoiding. You're like,
yes, that fucking drawer in your kitchen with all the batteries and scissors and shit in it. Clean that out. It's got all kinds of stuff in it.
Yep.
Anyway, I love you guys so much. Thank y'all so much. This was badass.
I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Hell yeah. Thanks to everybody in the chat. For sure. You guys are amazing. Thanks for chiming in, talking, asking questions. Much love. It's so exciting. Such a great show. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And like I said before, there are links for everyone underneath the video. So click in the description and follow everyone on those links. And yes, please
look at this journal.
Tell people just real quick about it and we'll
Amazon, Barnes & Noble right now, expandingrealitypodcast.com/books. It'll be down there probably, or you can just get there from the website. But Barnes & Noble and Amazon, Mindful Expansion. And there's a volume 2 coming out before the end of the year. And there's 7 books in total, but go check it out. Rediginal Publishing, ridiculously original. Come on.
I love it. That's a good smoosh. Rediginal.
Yeah.
And Clinton, if you don't mind, please tell everybody too where they can check your workout.
On Instagram, I have @Conchana. That's the only place. I keep it simple.
That's right, babe. I love
it.
Yeah,
in those journals, I got art in the journals.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. You can find it on the Blue Collar Mystics page too. One of his pieces is on there, and then in the stories as well. Both these guys are tagged in there. So thank you guys so much again. Thank you, gentlemen. Much love. That was a lot of fun. And everybody, we'll see y'all very, very soon. Peace.